In this video, I'm going to go back to some of the instructions that you gave me on the lesson before last. You told me to try to ride with my elbows further back, my hands closer to my belly button, and to experiment with heavier contact. So that's what I'm doing with Prairie here. You also told me that I was releasing too soon and rewarding too much. So I'm trying to get that under control. And you might also notice that I've got a folded dishcloth under the back of my saddle. I was experimenting with seeing if that tipped up the saddle a little bit and got my leg in a better position. And I like it. I think it makes my leg look really good. So what we're doing here is we're just doing some turning square. I'm asking him for turn in on the corners. And my question is a turn in supposed to look like a quarter of a walk pirouette? I mean, are his hind feet supposed to be in one place and is he supposed to completely pivot around his hind feet, or does he just curve around and make a turn? I really don't know what it's supposed to look like.
There, good boy. Yeah.
I'm also trying to ride a lot more with my seat and try to do less with my hands. And you can see in that turn there, I didn't have to lift my hands at all. I turned my seat and my upper body, and he did a good turn there.
Okay, you can stop.
So here's a typical turn in for him. I'm giving him a little bit of outside leg. Is that right? Am I doing that right? I don't know. It does feel like he's becoming more responsive to my seat. Um, I, I'm still lifting my inside hand to try to get him to bend his body and his neck a little bit here. And he's doing that. So I'm using my seat to try to keep him on a circle now. We're kind of doing turn in, alternating with move out as needed. And it looks like he's hardly moving at all, but if I slow it down, he's actually stepping under himself pretty well. You can see he almost tracks up, especially on the inside. So I guess that means he's using his back and swinging his legs. Is that right? And here I'm asking him for a couple steps of move out there. Yeah, he's doing it. And he's got his body kind of generally bent on the circumference of the circle. Is that right? Is that what he's supposed to be doing? And there I'm kind of inclining my seat and my belly button and my upper body toward the outside to get a move out, which he does. One thing that's very different about Prairie from Samba is he never really throws his head up. He's he's always got a pretty low head position, and that makes him a lot easier to ride in terms of trying to ride him with my hands at my belly button. That's really kind of impossible with Samba.
Good boy.
So here I'm asking him to soften and really put his head down. He dipped his head down, but he didn't hold it down. And now I'm trying to very quietly ask him to move out. with his head still in that position. Boom, here we are with Samba. How'd you like that transition? Okay, you wanted to see how I do all of this stuff again. So I'm trying to get her to drop her head with the flexions, and I always feel a lot of pressure when I have to do this when the camera is rolling. Because my husband gets impatient with me, and I get impatient with the horse when she doesn't perform. So I'm asking her to soften, and she's not giving me much of anything. If I get too rough with her, she'll really shut down. But she does drop her head there. So I go on to the muscle knots here. And eventually I start to hit a spot where I seem to be doing some good. She doesn't really like me to push too hard, but I am trying to work it. And I think I'm doing some good here. It'd be nice if I could get her to keep her head down all the time. And once again, here's her doing the lateral engaging step. She's kind of running away from me a little bit here. I should probably slow her down more. This is a little better. She tends to always go in little circles instead of in straight lines. But when she's under saddle, she always does move out in straight lines. So, and she stepping under pretty well there. She kind of stiffens and raises her head a little bit, so I'm trying to get her to lower her head and bend by raising the inside rein. And now I'm under saddle with her. And I'm not even trying to ride her with my hands at my belly button. I tried that. To me, it just doesn't work with her. Her head is up and down and everywhere. And I can never get the right rein length with her. Either I'm too tight or it's flippy floppy. So I find it works best if I get a hold on the reins a little further from the end, so I have some give and take possible there. Okay, I've asked her to soften, and she does momentarily and then pops back up again like a cork. And I'm going to try to just very gently ease her over into a turn in. Well, that wasn't too bad, but her head kind of came back up again. And now I'm just riding her in a circle, primarily turning her with my seat and trying to get a real quiet kind of communication going here. When I want her to bend more to the inside, I raise my inside hand. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be doing that because it seems like every time I do that, she really stiffens. I might be doing something wrong here. See, she's raising her head. Okay. She did a couple of steps of move out there. That's what I asked her for, and she complied, so I stopped and rewarded her. And now I'm asking her to soften again. I'm rewarding her less per your instructions, so I didn't drop the reins on that. And now we're going into a small circle again. We're going to keep doing turn-in into a small circle. We're kind of like spiraling in. And then when it feels like she wants to get off of that small circle, I'm going to ask her to move out. When we're doing this little circle, I give her a move out cue on the open end, toward the open end of the arena there. So she's really kind of bulging out on the circle. But she came back, and I'm going to halt her right here. And I want to get her to soften and really drop her head. Now I'm maintaining a light contact here, and she's wanting to get me to release it completely. So that's usually what I do. So I'm still asking her to really drop her head.
Good girl.
So there I drop the reins and reward her. So after standing a moment, I'm asking her now to drop her head, and we're going to move off again. You know, I really don't know how to ask her to drop her head. She's just curling up. Maybe I should lift the rein more forward instead of backward. As I see it now, I'm thinking about what would work the best. I really don't know. She's trying to back up and do everything else to figure out what I want. And she's really curling up there. So we go anyway. So I'm just trying to keep a super quiet rein contact here, super soft, do most of the talking with my hips and my upper body, and point with my belly button in the direction we want to go. If it's turn out toward the middle, if it's did I say that wrong? If it's turn in, turn toward inside of the circle. If it's move out, turn to the outside of the circle. So she's going around pretty nicely and quietly, and she's finally got her head in a fairly stable position. She's starting to trust the contact a little bit and lower her head into it. So we're just going around in a little bitty circle here. And I'm asking her for move out here, which she is complying with. And then I bring her back around to get on the little circle. And here we're trying to do a turn in, which she does and stays pretty well bent into it. Now we're going to do one in the opposite direction. She stiffens initially, but then she kind of bends into it a bit. There she threw her head up. We're continuing to circle around. That wasn't too bad. Now I'm going to ask for a move out. And that was a pretty feeble move out. And that's enough for one day.